Things are about to get real for BYU basketball.
Dawson Baker behind the back to Spencer Johnson. Lobs it up.
Big 12 Conference play starts Saturday. And this is a 1-hour special brought to you by Sinclair Oil. The Big 12 Conference Preview with Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back into the BYU Basketball in the Big 12 Season Preview Show, sponsored by Sinclair Oil. Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte here on KSL News Radio with you. All the action of Cougar Hoops can be heard right here on your legacy home of the Cougars, and it's a new era of Cougar Hoops, the Big 12. Joining us now is the head coach of the 12-1 and 12th-ranked Cougars, who are set to tip off their inaugural Big 12 schedule this week. It's head coach Mark Pope. And, Coach, your squad's number one nationally in scoring margin. Should we just expect that over the next 18 games in Big 12 play, you're going to keep up with that pace?
I'll take it. Let's go.
Was your team tested enough in non-conference, you feel?
Yeah, I think we kind of got out of what non-conference we wanted, which is, we wanted to kind of have a chance to learn ourselves, to like grow into an identity, to play some tough games. And I'm really, really pleased with where our guys are right now. There's no way to simulate the Big 12 conference season in the non-conference, and why would you want to anyway, right? And so, we did some pretty in-depth studies on team in the Big 12, over the last 5 years, their non-conference scheduling approach, how they did it, what they were looking for, where they were, had a billion conversations, and I like where we are. I think we're as prepared as we can be to walk into the Big 12 without being in the Big 12. And so we're excited to get going.
Your team does so many things well. Bench points is great. You're defending the three-point line. You're shooting a lot of threes, making a lot of threes. Your assist-to-turnover ratio is great. What area of the game are you most happy with up to this point of the season?
Statistically, I love where we've been assist-turnover. And I love it, with our schedule and regardless of our schedule also. There's been so many games where the game can get loose at some moments just because of the tenor of the game, and our guys have kind of stayed dialed in. I'm really proud of that. It just is it's become a real priority for us. We're going to be challenged in a new way as we move into league play in terms of assist turnover ratio. But that's been, it was an area where we really struggled last year, mostly a sign of our youth, right? And so it's a place where we've become way more proficient, and it's been a major key to the success that we've had so far. And I'd love to really, really keep honoring our attention to those numbers.
Mark Pope's our guest here on KSL News Radio. Mark, do you feel like you noted last year this was going to be a long game? Do you feel like you're ahead of schedule in the long game of your kind of grand vision of what this program can be in this Big 12?
I don't know if we're ahead of schedule. It's I think as you're trying to grow something, growth is usually in fits and starts. And so I think as you're trying to grow something, sometimes it's hard to predict exactly when you're going to make little jumps and how things are going to work. And you're just kind of staying focused on the end goal, right? Of where you're trying to get. And so I think we're really confident that we're going to get there. We'll see how long it takes us. I think we're really confident with some of the ingredients along the way. Like, we know we're going to be punched in the face. That's the nature of the Big 12. We know there was going to be moments as we go through this conference season where it's like, things feel like a disaster and they're not working. That's part of the nature of being in the most competitive league in probably all of college sports. And so we kind of know some of the things that are baked, and we know we're gonna have some big wins and some really great successes. It's what we don't know is kind of the timing of it, right? Of how long this growth is gonna take. I do like the fact that we have some years built in here to keep growing. But I love where our guys are. And most, we talk about the stats. The thing that I like most about our guys right now is I think our guys have a solid feel for who we're trying to be. I know I keep saying that. We can break down the specifics of what that means, but that's really important. because when you get punched in the face, you need to know like how to get back up, and where's your focus going to be as you kind of, I'm not a boxer, although I would have been incredible. That's a joke. I would not have been. But
That reach.
but I know you get punched in the face and you get a little disoriented and kind of like, where do you hold on to? Like, what do you hold on to? And I think having an identity for what you're aspiring to be and really, really feeling and knowing what that feels like and looks like is super important. It's going to be important for us to be resilient. It's one of the most important keys to having resilience is understanding who you are and how you react. It's a big reason why we kind of made this a multi-year project, was so we could come into this league knowing ourselves a little bit better than just 2 months in the bank, right? And so, that's going to be key for us here. And so I don't know if that's ahead of schedule, but I do feel like we're as prepared as we can be going to this league. And now let's go see what happens.
There's no doubt this team has been resilient with all the injuries you guys have overcome up to this point. None more important maybe than Foose. Atiki played great in the last game against Wyoming. What have you seen from him this year? How has he evolved his game over the years to be someone that you can rely upon?
Well, it's been fun to watch Tiki's progress. He played very little basketball before he got here to the States. In fact, he was in Canada at a prep school, but didn't get to play because of COVID. They literally had no game. So you talk about a guy that was really coming in raw. But, over the last 2 years, it's been really fun to watch him go from having really no concept of defensive positioning or defensive rotations or defensive terminology. And over the last 2 years, he's grown so much in that area where I have a ton of confidence, and he has a ton of confidence that he knows where to be, when there be there, how to be there, and what to do there. And then most recently this season, it's been really fun to watch his growth on the offensive end, especially his patience with the ball in his hands. That's what's really stood out the last several weeks, is just that he is, whether it's an offensive rebound or working out of a flow or a wide or a trail from the top of the key or getting a post catch, his patience once the ball's in his hands has been really extraordinary. His decision making has taken a massive jump, and it's been fun to watch him just digest the information that you have to take in real time in the game and be able to execute better.
It has been a lot of fun to see all these players like Atiki take these jumps on this BYU team. There's so many options. 9 different guys have scored at least 20 points in a game at least once in their college careers. I'm curious, though, Mark, how critical is it in the Big 12 to have guys that could be, maybe have NBA futures, NBA caliber players in this league? Because you look at like Baylor and Kansas, they're going to have maybe some lottery picks this year. How critical is it if you're going to be in the upper half of the league to have guys that are maybe bona fide NBA players?
We're about to find out, gentlemen. We're about to find out. I think that's an important piece. I do think this is a team game, and we're betting on the fact that we're going to find some ways to compete. We've gone really hyperbolic with our style of play, and we're going to try and hold on to that. And we believe that that's going to give us a chance to compete with who we are. We also feel like we have really good players. We have some guys that are going to have long futures in this game as they continue to grow and get better. And so it's going to be a combination of those two things, of having great players, which I believe we do, and also being able to approach this game a little bit differently, be a little bit on the fringe in terms of our play stylistically, and see if we can steal some games that way also.
Just to follow up on that, there's been some buzz nationally about Jackson Robinson as maybe an NBA guy. Do you buy that? Do you think Jackson could be an NBA player in the future?
Yeah, 100%. You think about when you just look at Jackson, you see this guy that's 6'6", 7'2". Those are NBA dimensions without a doubt, and his skill level, like his ability to handle the ball and make plays, and clearly, he's an elite level shooter that's just growing into that as he becomes more and more confident, and he still has so much untapped potential in terms of, he could have a like game altering impact on the game on the defensive end. He's still trying to learn that part of it. We've had some opportunities to slide him into the point guard position. Not a lot, but we've had some, and I think he's got a future there. He's got a huge upside, and clearly has made a big jump. Probably the biggest jump that he's made over the offseason, even though he works so hard on his game, was building relationship with guys on his team, which we don't talk about all the time when you're trying to evaluate a guy to go play at the highest level, but it's ridiculously important. And the guys that make decisions value that. And so, yeah, for sure, I think that's something he aspires to, and certainly he's going to be in the ball game to have a chance to do that. He just has got to keep growing every single day, just like all of us do.
Jackson is a lot like many players on your team that have accepted roles and maybe sacrificed a little bit for the better part of the team. We talked to Spencer Johnson last week, and he just echoed how impressive the unselfishness of this group has been up to this point. What is it about this particular team that has helped them become so unselfish?
Well, two things. One, they love each other. They're trying to play for each other. And two, they understand like that stars in this game, guys that have a chance to play at the most elite level, they usually have a chance to do it because they're about a team, right? Because teams win at the end of the day. It's interesting. I'll never forget Yoli Childs when he was leaving to become a pro. I had a really fun conversation with the front office of the Indiana Pacers that people call and try and do background on the guys. And their first question is like, we know Yoli, we know what he can do. We've had him in for workouts. We love the whole thing. The one question we have is he a guy that we could play 15 minutes one night, 20 minutes the next night, have DNPs for 5 straight games, and come back on game 8 and be great playing 20 minutes? Because that's the life in that league. That's how you become a star in that league, right? And that's why Jackson Robinson is another reason why he's built for that league. There's a ton of guys in college basketball that go be great players starting games. That's not going to translate for 99.9% of the players that are actually good enough to go and play in league. They're not going to start. They're going to play a role. And so the fact that Jackson Robinson is proving to the whole world that he can do that at an elite level right now, come off the bench and actually change the tenor of games every single night, that's actually a selling point for the next level. And our guys understand things like that. We have guys that are really wise about this game. We have guys that understand that, it's not going to be scoring 20 points that actually gives you a chance to play at the next level. It's going to be becoming great basketball players. And our guys have really embraced that. And they love each other. They're enjoying playing with each other. Our style of play kind of lends itself to a volume of opportunity for a bunch of guys. And so you put all that stuff together, and so far it's been a really good mix for our guys wanting to compete together and compete for each other. I think the other thing our guys realize, we need each other. We don't have 3 dudes on our roster that from their junior year in high school were slated to be lottery picks after their freshman year in college. This is not the DNA of our team. So we know we need each other. And that's actually fun, man. That makes this a rich experience. When this is bigger than just yourself, it makes it really beautiful. So hopefully those things will carry us through some of the adversity that we're sure to see in the Big 12, because every team sees that in the Big 12.
Last thing for you, Mark, and we'll get you out on this. What are your expectations for this inaugural Big 12 season? I just think back to, Studio B at BYU Broadcasting in September 2021. We're asking you questions. It felt like this moment was such a distant thought, and now it's here. What are your expectations going into this thing?
I expect that we're going to learn a lot. I expect that we're going to be stretched to the point of barely being able to exist on the planet Earth. I have huge expectations for this. This is why you do it. My expectations are this is going to feel like what it feels like when you go play at the most elite level available to you in college basketball. And that's where we're going. And that's what you live for as an athlete. It's what you live for as a coach. You're not looking for easy. You're looking for the absolute most challenging, terrifying, daunting, scary road. And that's what we got right now. And that's what we have as BYU fans right now. And there's going to be a lot of pain and trials and turmoil that are associated with it. But listen, adversity is not, a good life is not absent of adversity. A good life is full of adversity. That's what makes a life good. And that's what makes an athletic experience great. So we can't wait. I feel like our guys have worked hard. I feel like we're prepared. I feel like we have an identity. And so it's time. It's the right time for us now to go take our first foray into this and start building on the next level. Can't wait to get there, guys.
He's BYU head coach Mark Pope here on KSL News Radio, seeking win number 100 this Saturday night, 8 p.m. tip against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Mark, best of luck. Looking forward to covering it all, and we'll talk again soon.
See you guys Saturday. Thanks, guys.
And that's head coach Mark Pope. More BYU basketball in the Big 12 preview show with bold predictions next, right here on KSL News Radio.